Today in Math Centers, we're also going to be working with subtraction. So there are two types of subtraction problems, just like two types of addition problems. The first type of subtraction problem that we're going to look at does not involve regrouping. You're just going to be able to subtract straight down your place value columns. So this would be an example of one of those problems. So if you look at this, you have 5 minus 4 is 1, 2 minus 1 is 1, 3 minus 2 is 1, and then you'd bring down your 6. So that's one type of subtraction problem, the easiest kind there is. You're subtracting, you're not regrouping. Our second type of problem is going to look like this, and this is a problem that does involve regrouping. When you're subtracting and you need to regroup, remember that you need to go to the number next door and borrow. So on this first column here, the ones column, you have 3 minus 6, which you cannot take away 6 from 3. So you're going to go to your tens column, you're going to borrow 1 10. You're going to take the 10 over, and since you're borrowing 10, rather than having a 3, you're going to have a 13. So 13 minus 6 is 7. And now you have a 3 here. You cannot take away 9 from 3, so you're going to have to borrow from the hundreds. And again, since you're borrowing from the hundreds, this place value is 10 greater than this. So rather than have 3 hundreds, you have 13 hundreds again. So 13 minus 9 is 4. And then for your final column, you have 8, or you have 0 and 2. You can't subtract that. So you're going to borrow from your 9. You're going to make the 0 a 10. 10 minus 2 is 8. And then since you crossed off your 8 and made it a 7, you'll bring down your 7. So you have 7,847 as your final answer. Now there is one kind of problem that some people can find a little bit difficult with subtraction, and I'm going to show you one of those here really quick. Also involves borrowing. And in this case, I'm going to write a number down. This is a 4-digit number, 7,005. And if you notice, the number has zeros in both the tens and the hundreds. So here's where this gets tricky with regrouping. So let's say I have 7,005, and I subtract from it 496. Now, obviously, I'm going to have to borrow. You can take away 6 from 5. But when I go next door to look at the 0, I can't borrow. So what I need to do in some cases with my subtraction problems is you actually need to borrow several times. So if you go next door to the 0, there's no 0. Or there's a 0, you can't borrow. Go next door, you can't borrow. So what you're going to do is you're actually going to start at the first number you can borrow from, which is the 6. You're going to cross that out, put your number here at the next column available. So you borrowed from your thousands, you put a 10 in your hundreds. You're then going to borrow from that 10 to make that a 10, and then you need to borrow 1 from it to make that a 15. Then can take 15 minus 6 is 9, 9 minus 9 is 0, 9 minus 4 is 5, and just bring down your 6. That's probably the most difficult kind of subtraction problem. You'll rarely see them, but it's good to know how to do them. I believe there is one on your practice problems today. So these were our 3 kinds of subtraction problems. We had subtraction problems with no regrouping, subtraction problems with regrouping, and subtraction problems with lots of regrouping, mainly because they had zeros in the middle of the problem.